Yes, you could bring your cup over if, yeah, for a minute. I just want to have a little chat before we continue. And is the catchy box? Yeah. I might even shift spaces because it feels like a long way up there. I come into the room, huh? Can I share Helen's mat? I haven't met Helen, so good.
Yep, that's it. Hello.
So I would like to know if you have any questions about that ATM or any comments about your experience. That's way too far for me to read a name tag. Oh, Alison. I've never played with one of these catch boxes, so I'm actually really excited.
Hello. Sorry for all that. It was quite a basic question, which is I think I might have been too relaxed momentarily. And I on the side I was with my right arm, lying on my right side. I had my right arm long above my head. Did other that because I didn't hear at that particular point. So I noticed some other people had their arm out in front of them. Fine either way.
We can't hear you.
Fine either way. Yeah.
So
some people have their arm up and others have their arm. She did. Yeah.
At the beginning, I said rest your head on the arm. Then when we started to make the movement larger, there was I gave it putting your head on the floor.
Yeah.
Changing the position of your arm. So begin with, and it depends on your organisation, but to begin with, having your arm doesn't up under your head doesn't interfere with anything. But
unless your shoulder's sore.
Yes, then it will definitely interfere. And so that brings up the question, if you have any difficulty, that is the first consideration, your comfort and how you adapt or find a way to do the lesson so that you're not uncomfortable. Did you find a way?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
Hello, I'm Sylvia.
Thank
I have a comment.
Sylvia?
Yeah, Sylvia. I was thinking about this was the first ATM, the first exercise, and I felt it was like a kind of pandiculation, you know.
Yes.
Like a cat or a dog. They are.
Yeah.
And I think this is a good way to beginnings, no? Just to wake up one part of the body and see what's happened with the other and understand the difference.
Great.
And I enjoy.
Thank you.
Reprend my. This is an important moment that not always we give every day.
The time?
The time.
Yeah. The beginning, in the beginning, you mean?
Yes, in the beginning of the day, for
yes.
example, no? When you get up from the bed and you go there and just do your things and maybe to do these kind of things, you reprend yourself and then going or beginning our cycle of ATMs.
Great, thank you. Anyone else want to comment or have a question about it?
Hi. I found it really useful the way that you can breathe in or out. That changed the whole non-effort.
Great.
Really. And when you say do it the other way around, I went, no, I can't. So I can, but I don't want it.
Yes. So it is actually very useful to be able to do it both ways so that you have choice and you can clearly distinguish when you can, the difference that it makes, one versus the other.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we get to see how people's throwing arms are.
I just have a question following up from Julietta's about breathing and which order that you do it in. And you know, my analytical head always wants to know, is there a right way, or does everyone have just a different preference? Or is there usually a way of breathing that supports a movement, just to do with whether you want your chest or your rib cage bigger or smaller at a certain point, or whatever that you know, makes one preferable to the other?
Okay, so there's lots of questions in there. But probably the most important one is that there is no right way of breathing, but breathing and movement are integrated into every action. So that's the most probably fundamental thing, that our breathing needs to be able to change and adapt to be congruent and not interfere with the action that we're trying to do. Most people use themselves in a way that they don't have as many options for breathing. And so often they get into a habit of breathing in one way that doesn't necessarily make the movement most comfortable or allow the most easy organization of the skeleton. And I went through probably 15 lessons to decide which lesson I'd begin with. That's one of the things how do we decide what lesson do we begin when we want to teach a class? And I love this lesson. It has so many layers to it. And you can emphasize many different things that I thought it would, and I knew most of you had probably done it before, but most people could probably do it 100 times and still learn something about it, which is why I chose that particular one. But do you remember, and I don't know whether you were in this, you did it, I just kind of have a bit of an overview of all the things that you did. You were asked to look at visible body and a flexion movement, a folding movement.
That's true.
Yeah? And in that looking, were you looking at the breathing? So it doesn't ring a bell for you at all?
Not the flexion, not the breathing.
Not the breathing, yeah. Okay. But did you think about the movement of the ribs and the sternum? Okay. So if you think that part of you is folding, that is more congruent with breathing out. If you breathe in, you maintain the shape of your chest, so you're fixing it, and you've got to probably, if you want to still do the same action, you'd have to put a lot more power in, so it wouldn't be as easy. So often you can cognitively figure out what might be easier, but we're looking for choice and exploration and trying out different things, seeing what you can and can't do and what is or isn't possible. Thank you. Did you want a question? Yeah.
Sort of. I want to tell you something. It's like a guilty thing.
A guilty thing?
A confession, yes.
True confessions on day one. This is exciting.
Well, it's the day to do it, you see. If I don't do it day one, then it's not going to happen. But it's about breathing, because I know that growing up I always kept my tummy really tight and was, I guess kind of proud of having a flat stomach and didn't want to have my mum's tummy, that's for sure, and all that sort of thing, but very tight around that area. And then I read a Feldy article that said tummy out. And this was for horse riding, but it was saying push your tummy out, and it increases the surface area that you've got there. And of course it releases all those muscles as well. So that's my focus now. It's really quite deliberate. And I've also read another article since that, which was actually talking about having a nose on your back for expanding your ribs, but I put the nose on my tummy. And that works a treat for me, just to imagine a nose on my tummy so that I breathe in and expand the tummy muscles. And it's actually, I've got to a point, where I don't think about it. So that has been a switch, and I'm kind of thing. As I've had mega decades doing it the other way, I'm happy to do it that way for a while.
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So great. Thank you.
Tami out.
I suppose this is a comment rather than a question, but I think what was really interesting in doing that, can you hear me?
Yeah.
In doing that exercise was that you actually started from the breath.
Yeah.
I mean, that sequence. And I just recently read part of Mabel Todd's Thinking Body.
Great.
And she was saying that all the connection with the breath to the limbs is critical because of the way in which the greater, the musculature is connected specifically to the breathing apparatus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Thank
So
you.
that was really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
That sense of starting with the rib cage as opposed to even the pelvis.
And did it feel familiar or did it feel different to the lesson you did? Those of you who did it in the, oh, good. Can I throw it? Someone please ask a question.
That one felt familiar to me, like just the breathing in itself to curl in sort of thing. But going back to how you were talking about the breathing before, I had my first little moment a while ago helping someone with Feldy. And purely it was the breathing that I went through with him. So a guy that my husband, he couldn't raise his arm, and he's on the way to getting frozen shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And it was purely his breath doing it. So I'm watching him and he's holding his breath as he lifts his arm. So I got him to practice both ways, breathe in as he was doing it, and it'd just lock straight there. It'd lock. So I told him, breathe in and breathe out as you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up.
Yeah.
His arm just went straight up. It was purely, breath, rib cage or, first, second rib or whatever, not allowing. It's just blocking it. So it was purely his breathing that was doing it. So I got him to repeat like 15 or something, and he's fine since.
That's fabulous. And that can be something with people who don't have major issues but are having difficulty doing something, changing the way, getting them to identify how they're breathing and changing it, trying on other ways can be hugely impactful. Makes job, yeah. Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
It's back to you, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I did read, you had a conversation at the discussion at the end of last segment or talked in groups about what you wanted to learn about and what you wanted more of. So I took that in, I have taken that in. And certainly talking about the ATMs, showing the ATMs with skeleton, we can make a big part of this next 2 weeks. So if you want to see it, then you just have to ask. Okay, so shall we continue? Actually, before we continue, how many people felt asymmetrical? At the end. That's a good question, though. Another question to ask. Asymmetric. How many people felt more symmetrical? Great. Okay. So you understand that? Yeah? Okay. That it depends on your previous and more symmetrical to finish. Yeah. But it's something to be very aware of, that lessons affect people in different ways. And, it's their history and organisation experience in life that you can learn with experience to have a hypothesis that a particular experience is more likely, but it's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed. Okay, so let's continue some more. So please go to your mats.